assignment with the Trump campaign is Sean Thompson.
It's true. I'm filling in for Steve, and here's the downside. I hate talking points. I'm not really good at it. I don't like it. I argue about collectivism. I don't like party politics. I can't stand people in a group. I'm going to be quite frank with you. I think it's ridiculous, and I don't like tribalism. But it's come to me lately as we're inundated minute after minute, news after news, as the intellectual tyranny we're told just shut up and take it. And you realize how many people in the whole damn country produce? How many people aren't takers? How many people are producers? How did we get in a position where, unless you're politically connected to a certain extent, we're all in the same boat? We're all ruled by these inadequate failures that have destroyed not just towns and counties, but states. And I'm looking at the nonsense between the diapers Biden accusing Trump of backhandedly because he's a denier of the greatest scam perpetrated on earth. The idea that if we just pay a little money and sacrifice a little bit, we'll somehow stop weather. I mean, I know, what do we call it now? Climate change, global warming. I can't keep track of the swindle because it's been going on for 60 years. And for 60 years, every prediction has been wrong, similar to COVID. But the other things, the ridiculous policies of this Democrat mafia, I can't stomach it, really. And when you look at a map and you look at the states that are controlled, it's really quite shocking. The states that are controlled by Democrats. Now, turns out to be 15 states. 15 states in this country are Democrat-controlled, Democrat from the House to the upper echelon, the governor, all that. 22 are Republican. There's a significant amount of states that are kind of in between, or they could go either way. I think it's time we realize that we have irreconcilable differences. It's irreconcilable. I mean, if you're going to hold hostage people that are not involved in your state, if you're going to hold hostage people on their ability to disagree with you, well, then what the hell's the point? Are we still America anymore? We still have the rights, the unalienable rights. Everybody, you know the thing about the thing that Joe Biden forgot? Everybody loves that little line in the Constitution, right? But the most important line in the Constitution is the first line. When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another. See, that's the main thing. How do we have the right to do that? Because here's the thing. I'm watching this chaos ensue. And somebody on Facebook sent me a picture of the mugshots of these degenerate scumbags that have been causing the chaos and breaking the windows. And if it's that small face, that they get from that infant alcoholism when the parents were drug addicts, they got that small face and the giant head, or the hoop earrings, or the piercings in the face. Just freaks. Intellectual tyrants who have produced nothing, have contributed nothing, have only taken. And their biggest grievance is they just want to take a little more. Just throw it on the pile. Free education, free healthcare. The Marxists that they are. And this whole thing where they're I don't want to give them any more. No, I'm out. I want out. So it's time now to break the political bands that tie us together. You got 15 states. Take the other ones that are unsure. I'm generous. I'm magnanimous. Take them. Pick the ones that want to go back to the America where I'm a man. And I don't have to be talked to by these hoop-eared children who have produced nothing. You know how hard it is for a guy like me? And this is not about money, boys and girls, because I'll tell you what, we got a tax guy coming on. You can't get ahead. Unless you're Pritzker and you hit the Loin lottery, you could generate $1 million a year, brother. And let me tell you something. By the time the taxes and the costs of living and the Obamacare and the rest of it, you have shekels left. Rich is not about money. It never has been. It's a state of mind. See, that's what people don't understand. Rich is your state of mind. When you have a consciousness where you don't need anybody, you're a rich man. When you have a consciousness where you don't give in to temptation, not because of society. I got the guys that call, it's about the nuclear family. Poppycock to that nonsense. You're talking about families, you have no idea what you're talking about. You don't know if the father's a scumbag, a good guy, if the mother's a prostitute. You have no ideas. Best thing you could do for kids is get them away from those scumbags because it's about your consciousness. It's about what's important to you, what makes you rich. Now, we all can look at Pritzker. You could see he's a self-loathing son of a gun. How do you let yourself get 400 pounds, you pathetic human being? Disgusting. How do you let yourself get like that? You have no pride in yourself? See, that's what it's all about. That's a form of richness. You could have no money in the bank, but character that's not for sale, integrity that can't be bought. You're not part of a group. That's the America I like. Those are the kids that do something, by the way. Those are the kids that go off and they don't even understand why they're going to a war, and they do it because out of the right intention, and they're being used by cowards. But do you not see we're losing this thing? Do you not see? Listen, I got clips here that'll make you sick. I think half the time I get aggravated is because the young Misty Callahan wants me to do my job and prep for the show, and I got to listen to the clips, and it's just sickening to me. Whether they're shooting cops, look at me. I'm the first guy on this station. I'm very proud of this. When Van Dyke gunned down that kid, I said, "What are you, out of your mind? Shoot the guy 6 times." I can decipher right and wrong. I'm not cheerleader. I'm not like the moron that used to be here. Support the blue. No. Support individuals who are good people, regardless of their occupation. Support righteousness and law and character. But I have a friend of mine that came in the store. This also aggravated the hell out of me today. The guy doesn't have a mean bone in his body. Today, in my cigar store. He's a cop. The nicest guy in the world. Never a mean bone. And you know something? I'm going to tell you something right now. He's a cop in a neighborhood. Most of the guys in Hinsdale and Oak Brook, most of the ones whose kids are out there breaking windows and on the front line, you wouldn't go in it for a bet other than to buy drugs. That's the kind of neighborhood it is. And you know this guy? This guy's taking kids into his house. He's joined the Big Brother program. He's helped minorities. He's the nicest human being in the world. In 20 years of being a police officer, he's had his gun out of his holster 4 times. That's it. And each time he was forced into the corner, and each time he didn't shoot anybody. And kids are walking up to his car, pointing at him, telling him, "You're next now." That's what's really going on out there. That ain't right. Is that right? So here's what I have to say. You want to know the Democrat states? By the way, they're all real fiscally solvent, too. California, Oregon, Washington, Nevada, Illinois, Colorado, New Mexico. By the way, they're all broke. Every state I'm mentioning to you, broke, and more broke. New York, Maine, Virginia, Connecticut, Rhode Island. You could have them. Here's socialists, Marxists, you with the big hoop earrings. I've decided we have irreconcilable differences. Take them. I've always been uncomfortable calling us the United States when you had to kill 1 million people to stay together. That, to me, is just a little warning sign. But I say it's time. It's time to break up. Because this election, what's the next one going to look like? You think the next one's going to be better? Because here's the dirty little secret that nobody wants you to talk about. We're allowing fewer and fewer people to control each one of our lives, each one of our decisions. You notice in this COVID thing, you don't have the right to disagree with it anymore. You can have your opinion, but it doesn't matter. You own businesses? You just think you did. You're under house arrest. The whole damn country's under house arrest. It is to the point now where the few states, may I add Republican, thank God, because Andrew Gillum was in a hotel room with his boyfriend. We got that clip too. And even through frauded votes, he couldn't win. The reality is, we're helpless here. We're under a delusion that we have political power. I hope Trump wins just as much as all the Trumpers out there and all that, and then I'm going to argue against certain policies I disagree with. That's a small part of us people here. I don't want to be controlled by mobocracies, and that's what we're fighting here. Now, it's clear and present that the Democrats are Marxists. I mean, and I'm being friendly. You want to get pulled off in theoretical debates of Trotskyites and Leninists? Okay. But it doesn't matter. These are children who've done nothing other than ruin their states and embarrass their parents. That's it. And they're telling each one of us what we get to live, how we get to raise our kids. Do you ever think you'd hear a stranger tell you how to raise your kid? Shut your mouth. And here's the other thing. The problem is because we've all of us have tried to commingle and pick little pieces of socialism we like. Until you stand for something, you're going to bow for everything. So the movement now is pick out the socialism and reject it, and you give us people, us, the Americans, just give us one state. And we'll talk to you when you come back to bail you out because you can't run anything. Yeah, I'm talking to you, Biden and Obama.
The Obama-Biden administration rescued the auto industry.
Rescued the auto industry, you moron. You bailed it out, you stupid son of a gun, and you did it with other people's money. Bailed it out so you could keep what? UAW workers in the Forest Preserve high? You dimwit. And the year after you gave them the money, what did they need? More money. Moron.
And help them retool.
Retool.
We made solar energy cost competitive with traditional energy.
You mean like Solyndra, stupid? You mean like Solyndra? Because that solar nonsense, it's 100 years old. Did you know the technology is 100 years old? Did you know it is the greatest scam in real estate? The greatest scam. It only goes where grants pay for it. Every policy they have is a financial fraud. Every single one of them. And that's why all of these 15 states suck. And they're all bankrupt. They suck. And you ruined every one of them. State of California, look how gorgeous it is. It's burning down. Why? Because of your eco-Nazism, you moron. Clean the damn forest out, idiot. It's good for the nature. Bunch of moron hippies who did nothing. Ruining things left, right, and center.
And weatherized more than 1 million homes.
Weatherized 1 million homes. Let's take this into consideration, you fracking moron. 1 million homes. How many homes do you think there are in the United States? What's 1 million? What'd you do, Cook County? Well, no, you know what? You did 10% of Cook County, you stupid son of a gun. What did that cost us? Anybody want to get a dollar amount? Anybody want a dollar amount from this babbling moron?
Beginning if we get reelected. And we'll do it again.
Yeah, we'll do it again.
Bigger.
Say it with that acting voice, because you don't even believe your own BS. We'll do it again. You just keep Jill busy till your Viagra kicks in, and I got to listen to the Never Trumpers. Oh, he's dignity. Look at the dignity on this fraud. Irreconcilable differences. I'll say it now. That's it. Somebody get a team of lawyers. Where's all the slip and fall guys on Channel 32? 22. Where are these shenanigans, shysters, slip and fall guys? Let's get them on board. We sue everybody. I say we separate. Pick a state. All the Americans will go there, and you guys could ruin the rest of it. Because you've already ruined everything you've touched. I got Pritzker prancing around pretending he's going to let people play football. Shut up, fatso. I've had enough of it. A little too intense for the first opening? Maybe it was. 312-642-5600.
AM 560's Steve Cortez is on special assignment working on President Trump's re-election campaign. He'll be back after the election in November, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Thank God you got guys like Tom Marabali, because we're trapped in this yoke of tyranny called Obamacare, morons that they are. Guess what time it is? It's time you have to make a big decision. It should be easy. It's an easy one because it's open enrollment time. You know, right before they cut it off, then you're screwed. Right now, Tom Marabali is your health insurance advocate and independent producer for Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois and other major medical carriers. If you're 50, guess what? You're paying because your wife could possibly get pregnant if she's not a trophy wife. Even if she's 50, you're paying for it. In Illinois, the least expensive ACA PPO health insurance plan is $570 a month. Yeah, sure it is. That's for that garbage one where they leave you sitting in a room. What is it called? The bronze? Yeah. With a total out-of-pocket cost of $81.50 before your bills are 100% paid. Tom can eliminate the mandatory maternity coverage. Well, thank God. I don't know how he's going to reason with these morons, but he does it. He lowers your monthly payment to $480 with a total out-of-pocket cost of $2,500 before they pick up the tab, I guess. I'm sure they're going to stiff the hospital, though. That's a saving of $56.50 total out-of-pocket cost per person with a lower deductible. For free quote. And if you qualify, you give Tom a call. This is his real cell phone, by the way. I don't know how he didn't get an 800 number, but he did. 630-863-3477 or visit healthplanchicago.com.
My name is David Hochberg. Meet Kyle, 70, who called for information about reverse mortgage loans, not for himself, but for his 92 years young mom, Ann. Before Kyle's father passed away, Kyle promised he would help his mom, who needed 24-hour supervision, to live in the home they've owned over 40 years. Team Hochberg's reverse mortgage loan expert, Jose Rodriguez, answered all their questions and explained how a reverse mortgage loan would allow Ann to defer her mortgage payment and access her home's equity to fund the care she needs to continue to safely live in her home. If you or a loved one would like to learn more about the many benefits of reverse mortgage loans from a local reverse mortgage loan expert who will always look out for your financial best interests, call Team Hochberg now at 855-56-DAVID. That's 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. Team Hochberg has helped thousands of AM 560 listeners, but we can't help if you don't call 855-56-DAVID or visit 56david.com. Homeside Financial Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 1124061.
There are a lot of tough questions when thinking about caring for aging parents or loved ones. Most importantly, can they stay safe at home? With Home Care Angels Home Services, they can. Home Care Angels has been caring for seniors in their homes with compassionate and holistic non-medical care for the past 15 years. The Home Care Angel caregivers are certified in dementia care, COVID-19, and in-home care. You'll get highly qualified caregivers carefully selected for your loved ones to help with activities of daily living, meal prep, light housekeeping, or 24/7 live-in care. Due to COVID-19, they've taken extra precautions and implemented protocols consistent with CDC guidelines to ensure the quality and safety of all their clients. Home Care Angels is in Des Plaines, Illinois, and services all of Chicagoland and the suburbs. To request a free in-home assessment, call 847-824-5221. That's 847-824-5221. Home Care Angels is a proud member of the Home Care Association of America.
AM 560, The Answer.
We got one caller because I didn't ask the question. I broke Rule 101. So here's the question. Do you agree with me? Do we have irreconcilable differences? Is it time that the country just say, hey, I think it is. I'm going to be dead serious with you. Let the socialists take what they want. Give the Americans that wanted the Americanism we're built on to have it back. We'll reestablish the Constitution, which, by the way, isn't good enough. It was written like Swiss cheese. It's been undermined and bastardized. Everybody's contorted it into what they want. And no longer is law any citizen's weapon. Shield, excuse me. It's the government's weapon. Law has become the government's weapon against us. And that's why I'm aggravated. So we're gonna let the guy here yell at me a little bit. And he's right. Because it's aggravating. You got to come in here. I got to listen to these frauds, these 47. You know what Joe Biden did for 47 years in government? Raise money and party. You think they work? They go in their little offices. They get on the phone. They call for contributions. Then they decide which secretary they're going to try to make the mistress. That's how it really works. Nothing is done there that isn't done against us, the people. Their laws that they come up with, the ones they never read that are thousands of pages, they're chains of tyranny that have enslaved us. The whole damn system's got to be torn apart. I'm dead serious. John on the south side, and you are a genius, John. How are you?
Hey, Sean, how are you? Awesome show, but I tell you, you kept asking what time it is. It's time to get off the decaf and the Mountain Dew. My heart's going boom, boom, boom.
It's like a workout.
I had to take my blood pressure medicine, and just like in Donnie Brasco, hey, my ex-wife lives upstairs. I had to have 2 spritzers to calm down. But hey, awesome show, my friend. Have a great one.
Thank you, John. You know, it's true. I come in and I got to listen to this. I got Kamala Harris. What did you ever do, Kamala? Listen, aside from the sales pitch, you literally were the Big Cheese's side girl. He's 60 years old. Listen, I'm sorry. I always laughed when I would see, I go to an area in Florida where very wealthy guys. I laugh myself silly. The guy's got the white shorts on from the 70s. He's got the pot belly like Pritzker, where it looks like you're trying to put pants on an egg. And he's walking around with this starlet. And you say to yourself, oh boy. You think it's because he's dazzling at conversation, or is she really attracted to him? Or is it the $6 million house with the $10 million boat behind it? I say it's C. And you laugh yourself senseless. But that doesn't mean I want that girl in charge of my policies. I'm sorry, but that's, let's call it what it is here. Patrick in Schaumburg, how are you?
Hey, listen, I agree with you that we've met the great divide. But how do you do it geographically?
The states that they already have. Listen, this isn't the 1600s anymore. We don't need states that are continuous because we got to ride our horse and buggy there. We got planes now and all that stuff.
It's not 1861 either.
It's a lot closer than you think, right? And here's the other thing. Don't forget about this 1861. People want you to think it was about one thing. It wasn't.
No, it wasn't. It was about economics.
It's about a lot of things, right? But more importantly, there is a time when if your only alternative is you're going to be part of my team or I'll kill you, that's gangster stuff.
So you're telling me I got to move?
I'm telling you got to move. Yeah.
Okay.
But didn't you already know that? Brother, listen, I heard you call. You're a smart guy. You're going to tell me you didn't know.
Do you know any real estate people?
Yeah, you call me, Liberty Real Estate Services, Naples, Florida. Thank you, Patrick. The reality is, yeah. But wouldn't you move? You know, we're all descendants of people that left their country. Wouldn't you move for freedom? I mean, isn't that what we're all doing anyway? And when Pritzker passes this new tax law, I got news for you. I was at a barbecue on Sunday. Everybody's moving. Everybody. Do you not aspire to have your children at least make money? I mean, or are we just so comfortable with the Soviet-style Trotskyism that we're happy when our kids pay our costs? Is that what we are? Because I'm going to tell you what, when I watch the mugshots of these neo-Marxists calling themselves Antifa, BLM, whatever name they want to give themselves, they don't give a rip who pays their bill. They just want someone else doing it, the freaks that they are, with that what is it called? You got to look that up for me, that alcoholism. When your parents did so much dope, you're born with a face the size of a quarter. Yeah, that's too fancy for me to say. Where your face is the size of a quarter and your head's the size of a basketball. They got that small face syndrome. I'm just going to call it that. Despicable. Mike, Crown Point.
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
There's something underway right now. I wish you guys would do a segment on one of your shows.
Convention of States
that's going on.
Yeah, it does. Look at where we're at, brother. You're calling me from Indiana.
We got to back up the truck.
Yeah, dude, you're calling me from Indiana. You guys you're living large out there, driving around in a pickup truck. You got a pickup truck, don't you? I could hear it.
That's SUV.
All right, yeah, okay. Well, you must be having a wife's car. You guys don't know what it's like to live here in the Soviet state of Illinois. It's terrible. Who's going to do it? Pat Brady, the Republican that endorses the eco-Nazi? Come on, brother, it's hopeless. Thanks, Mike. That's why you got to go to Florida. We got one call, one David. We got just enough time for you. How are you, David?
Very good, Sean. Real quick point then. A lot of people think that the Bill of Rights and the Constitution give people rights.
No.
It doesn't.
It's supposed to restrain government.
The government.
Yeah.
That's what it does, but it hasn't done that.
David, the people that listen to this station,
they're doing that again.
The people that listen to this station, you and your kids, me and my kids, that's who talks about that. We're living in this time of COVID. This is Nazi stuff, brother. Look what they did to us. I can't. You're not supposed to walk anywhere without a mask. Who are you to tell me anything? Why do I got to wear a mask? Oh, you got to wear it for somebody else. I don't give a rip about anybody else. How's that? I'll wear that badge of selfish. Go ahead, give it to me. Because what's the opposite? A tyrant? Or somebody waiting for somebody to give me life? No, thank you. I'll take the badge of selfish. Thank you, David. I mean, that's it. That's where you're going to get it in this show. You want me to sugarcoat stuff? No. I don't want to sugarcoat it. I want to tell you the truth. And we're losing. Yeah, we need to win this election. Fine. But right around the corner, you see what's in store for us? 312-642-5600.
In the final 100 days before the election, President Trump knew it was time to call in the closer to seal a victory. And the man he called was AM 560's Steve Cortez.
There is nobody that loves this country more than Steve Cortez. Steve
will return to the air after the election, right here on AM 560. The Answer.
Famous conservative quotes presented by Automated Systems.
The main vice of capitalism is the uneven distribution of prosperity. The main vice of socialism is the even distribution of misery. A Winston Churchill quote that rings quite true.
For FDA-regulated staffing needs, Automated Systems provides top talent, including experienced quality control and assurance engineers, plus validation and compliance experts. Hiring the best is critical to success. ASI resources are all degreed professionals with decades of experience in manufacturing, automation, and FDA compliance. That's why ASI is retained by all of Chicagoland's Fortune 500 life science companies to successful startups. For a staffing evaluation, call Laz at 844-HIRE-ASI or visit hireasi.com. That's 844-HIRE-ASI or online at hireasi.com.
We know that sometimes it might be difficult to hear AM 560, like when you drive under that bridge, or you get too close to power lines, or when you're surrounded by gigantic concrete and steel buildings. which is why we've made it easy to listen to us whenever you want, wherever you might be. We're always streaming at 560theanswer.com and on the AM 560 mobile app. You can also get us on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and we're on TuneIn, iHeart, and Radio.com. You can listen wherever and whenever to AM 560, The Answer.
Customers, students, and staff expect a new level of clean. Cintas has the essential products and services to help you carry out cleaning protocols effectively. Cintas performs surface sanitizer and disinfectant spray services to common touchpoints, installs and refills touchless hand sanitizer dispensers, and provides commercial laundry services to help minimize employee exposure. Give everyone the confidence they need to keep coming back. Visit Cintas.com and get ready for the workday.
It's news, opinion, and insight at the speed of your life. Streaming at 560theanswer.com on the AM 560 mobile app and radio.com.
Back to the Senate. Good afternoon. It's 78 degrees in Chicago at 5:30. On AM 560, The Answer. I'm Tom Beck. Joe Biden will reportedly meet with Senate Democrats Thursday via phone for the first time since he accepted the Democratic presidential nomination. Politico reports the former senator will cover voter mobilization at the state level, among other things. President Trump told reporters this afternoon part of his election strategy will be to take care of suburbia. He again pointed to violence in Chicago and said he would keep streets safe. A key player in a corruption scandal that brought down the then Chicago Public Schools CEO is now scheduled to get out of prison early due to coronavirus concern. Gary Solomon will be moved to home confinement. 6 people are hospitalized after an early morning apartment building fire in Chicago's Louvre. 3 were in serious condition, 3 in good. The fire happened on the 32nd floor of a building in the 400 block of East Randolph. No word of the cause. On AM 560, The Answer, I'm Tom Beck.
It's open enrollment season, and Medishare is a Christian healthcare sharing ministry that saves most families about $500 a month. Google Medishare and see if it is a fit for you.
It's that time of year again. Time for Freedom Summit. And this year will be unlike any other. We're taking Freedom Summit north of the border. Join AM 560 for Freedom Summit 2020 on Saturday, October 31st at the Abbey Resort in the Lake Geneva region of Wisconsin. This year's lineup includes Candace Owens, Charlie Kirk, Larry Elder, and many more. Tickets are on sale now at freedomsummitchicago.com. Sponsored in part by healthinsurancementors.com and by Automated Systems Incorporated.
Friends, it's Steve Cortez here. Let's talk about mortgages and the housing market. The housing market has been an incredible bright spot within the economic recovery of recent months as our country begins to rebuild, quite literally in the case of home construction, and rebuild overall in terms of our economic renaissance from the ravages of the coronavirus. It seems quite clear that the housing sector is one of the leading drivers of that recovery. A lot of incredible data lately, including in July, the biggest month for existing home sales ever. And that's on the back of, in June, one of the biggest housing starts months ever. If you are in the mortgage market right now, I suggest you go to UnitedFaithMortgage.com. They are wonderful people, family-run operation. They're a direct lender, which means often you can get your loan processed faster and sometimes at a better rate. UnitedFaithMortgage.com.
United Mortgage Corp, Melbourne, New York. NMLS number 1330. Ryan Vrecka, NMLS number 65233. For all licensing information, go to NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the NJ Diet Show. Tune in Sunday afternoons 1 to 2 for the NJ Diet Show with Dr. Arthur Turovitz on AM 560, The Answer.
Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer from the AM 560 Traffic Center.
The inbound side of the Edens, bumper to bumper, Elston down to the Kennedy Merge. Lake Cook Road to the Junction 16, outbound in 15. Kennedy outbound, it's 11 to the Split, 8 in the Express, 27 to the airport. Inbound at River Road, a stall blocks the left lane. O'Hare back in, 31, 16 off the junction. Eisenhower outbound, slowing in pockets from Damon on out to the Reagan toll. Circle to 390, 47. Inbound jam-packed from Damon to the Burn. 390 back in at 42. Stevenson outbound, stopping and going to Pulaski. Lakeshore Drive on out to the Tri-State a half hour. 41 minutes to 3:55. South I-55 crawling through the roadwork, Arsenal to Blodgett. The Dan Ryan, 19 minutes either way. That's traffic. I'm Mary DeBadges. On AM 560, The Answer.
Now, your official weather forecast.
Clear skies overnight. We'll have a low of 60. Mostly sunny, very warm Wednesday with a high of 83. Partial sunshine Thursday. It will be breezy in the morning, then nice in the afternoon. Thursday, we'll see a high of 66. I'm Drew Shannon on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas Coffee, roasted fresh daily in Batavia, Illinois.
AM 560, The Answer.
I always like when I have guests on whose resume is going to take up like the first 5 minutes, and that's Jacob Rich. Young Voices in Reason. He's an analyst at the Reason Foundation. He focuses on many topics: tobacco, drug, healthcare policies. Rich is a graduate from Eastern Michigan University. He's got a master's degree in mathematics and economics. We got a lot to talk about you with. Jacob, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for having me back, Sean.
Thank you so much for coming back. And here's the thing I wanted to discuss with you. Price controls on prescription drugs. Now, You'll have to forgive me. I'm the old Austrian capitalist. But I do recognize that we have been bearing the brunt of really corporatism between pharmaceutical companies and our government. Will these price controls that Trump has given an executive order on help us or end up the way all price controls do?
Well, I wouldn't even call these price controls. These are actually basing the prices on what other countries are currently paying. So you actually have other countries negotiating with pharma, which is a form of capitalism. Maybe it's a collective capitalism, but it is a market force nonetheless. Mm-hmm. It's actually the foreign governments and through their negotiations that are dictating these prices. So you don't have some czar at the head of the Department of Health and Human Services just arbitrarily choosing prices. And because those capitalistic forces actually exist, we should see massive reductions in the spending. So, yeah, I mean, if you want me to go through exactly what just happened, I mean, Trump on Sunday signed a big executive order to reduce drug prices for all Americans. Basically, he's targeting pharmaceutical company reimbursements through executive rulemaking by replacing the Medicare average sales price scheme with an international pricing index scheme, where he'll be basing Medicare reimbursements on the lowest prices sold to those other countries.
So let's not lose this for a minute. I'm going to let you go on, but I think it's crucially important the audience understand the problem with the Medicare pricing system is that they literally price to the highest charge that a pharmaceutical can charge, and they make that the standard fee for all medicine claimed through Medicare. Is that correct?
It's very close. It's based on the average cost, but they basically charge absurdly high prices to all Americans in the private market who have private insurance in order to make sure all of their government reimbursements are incredibly high. So drugs that usually cost like $14 in Mexico, they'll charge private insurance people $540, and then every single Medicare and Medicaid reimbursement will equal $540. That's how they're scheming the taxpayers.
So I'll always cut a break when I understand the principle, even though I disagree with the move itself. And what I mean by that is this the only recourse Trump had rather than revamping the corrupt, fraudulent Medicare system?
Yes, unfortunately. I mean, ideally, we would be moving to a capitalistic system where market forces are everywhere. But it's already written into law how Medicare and Medicaid operates. So basically, so we all know that the pharmaceutical companies wrote the Affordable Care Act. They basically wrote it to maximize how much money they'd be getting from prescription drugs, which has happened. And prescription drug prices have skyrocketed since the passing of the Affordable Care Act, more than double the reimbursements that they're getting for taxpayers now. But one thing they wrote into the law is this idea of a demonstration authority experiment. So if there's a certain population that CMS, the Centers for Medicaid and Medicare, think that can reduce prices for, they're allowed to do an experiment on how they reimburse drugs. Well, Trump's like, experiment. Can I reduce drugs prices for all Americans? And since foreign countries pay less for the drugs in the private market, he's simply just shifting the pricing mechanism to reflect foreign prices instead of private prices. Now, the implications for this are absolutely incredible, because the reason why private prices are so high, again, is because they're trying to scheme Medicare and Medicaid. So actually, by pricing the reimbursements that government gives to the pharmaceutical companies to buy the drugs through Medicare and Medicaid, they're actually removing that pernicious influence on the private market for Americans. So they'll actually stop overcharging Americans in the private market once we stop basing our prices there. And that's actually where the big scheme is and where the big gains are. This is awesome for Medicare and Medicaid because we're going to be paying less as taxpayers. But how much less individuals with private insurance are going to be paying for their drugs afterwards is actually the biggest gain.
And why do you think, I've watched this reported since it happened. I understand that you can't get too specific when you're talking to the general masses because a lot of Americans have fetal alcohol syndrome, also known as small face on a basketball. So I understand that they probably don't want to get too specific, but this is such a great thing. How could anybody of any party be against it?
Well, unfortunately, both parties and the special interests of both parties are fighting this like tooth and nail. Because let's be honest, the special interests of both parties are heavily funded by Big Pharma. That's why we have not seen any sort of improvement on drug prices under Republicans or Democrats. You have the Brookings Institution, who put out a report saying that this wouldn't work. And then you had the Taxpayer Protections Alliance, which is a Republican organization, putting out propaganda that says it's not going to work. The reason why everyone is against it is because it is going to work. I mean, it's really as simple as that. Follow the money.
Yeah. Now, is this also a primary reason, if we can pan back a little bit, as to why there has been such an inadequacy of removing Obamacare? Because what Obamacare really did was narrow the field and make it an expressway for this kind of corruption within the medical delivery system.
Exactly. So what Obamacare did is it increased the number of individuals who are going to be covered by the prescription coverage programs of Medicare. I'm sorry, mostly Medicaid. I think there was some Medicare expansion, but it was mostly Medicaid expansion. But if you move more people under the government reimbursement scheme, that means that the pharmaceutical companies lose less money when they overcharge private consumers. See, the whole reason why private prices are going to go down is because pharma currently isn't profit maximizing in the private market. They're actually charging prices that are so high that less people are buying drugs. The only reason they're doing it is because Medicare and Medicaid indiscriminately reimburse at those prices. But the moment that the prices are no longer tied to private prices, pharma is actually going to reduce the prices in order to profit maximize in the market. I mean, isn't that absolutely insane? They're charging prices so high that they're actually losing profit on private individuals because they're trying to maximize profits from Medicare and Medicaid. It's absolutely absurd.
Which is why they really wanted to see something like Obamacare come along, because what it does is just drag everybody into that corrupt Medicare system, allowing them to think they're not, because they have a separate name. But the reality is it works in conjunction with. Isn't that right?
Yeah, that's exactly it. Obamacare was mostly just Medicaid expansion. But one of the most incredible things, while the Trump administration is actually trying to get Obamacare repealed in court, is that this rulemaking power that he's putting forward is actually leveraging an Obamacare mandate. It's kind of a stretch, but how often do presidents not do stretches, right? I mean, this idea of an experiment to reduce prices for certain parts of the population is actually written in by Obamacare. So he's actually weaponizing Obamacare against itself. When I read this, I was like, this is genius.
Jacob, could you hold right there? You remember we got to do this break capitalism nonsense. And we'll be back with that. I want you to go through it if you don't mind. Do you mind?
Oh, I certainly can. No problem.
We'll be back with Jacob Rich after this.
In the final 100 days before the election, President Trump knew it was time to call in the closer to seal a victory. And the man he called was AM 560's Steve Cortes.
There is nobody that loves this country more than Steve Cortes. Steve.
Steve will return to the air after the election, right here on AM 560. The Answer.
This election in November is the most consequential since 1860. I probably said that word wrong, but you know what I meant. The stakes are high. The battle lines stark. That's why you need to see Dinesh D'Souza's latest film. It's called Trump Card, and it's an expose of socialism, corruption, gangsterism. This is what I've been saying the whole time. That defines the Democrat Party, a.k.a. Democrat Mafia, not Dinesh's. That's mine. The socialism of Bernie Sanders. This film reveals what's unique about modern socialism, who's behind it, why it's evil, and how we can work with President Trump to stop it. Go watch Trump Card at trumpcard.com and pre-order your video on demand and DVD. You don't want to miss the important new film by Dinesh D'Souza. You have to pre-order it now. Go to trumpcard.com. That's watchtrumpcard.com.
Need new windows, but reluctant to subject yourself to aggressive salesmen, phony offers, or a shoddy installation? There's a better way to shop for replacement windows. Woodland Windows and Doors. New windows can turn an old room into a favorite, add character, or lower energy costs. But we know it can be daunting. That's why Woodland is with you every step of the way, helping you decide what works best for your home. Stop by our showroom to see brands like Marvin, fresh colors like Marvin Contemporary Black. Take home a copy of Marvin's replacement guide that walks you through key replacement decisions. After 50 years, Woodland has seen a lot of shop-fatigued homeowners walk into their showroom and walk out energized because they never pressure, push, or make false promises. Woodland delivers a great product at a fair price, and they're not satisfied until you are. Stop by the showroom at the corner of Lake and Gary in Roselle to pick up a copy of Marvin's replacement guide. They'd love to see you. Or go to woodlandwindows.com and request a free consultation.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company customizes your home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
As a minimalist, paying less for insurance is more.
Nice place. Is your house a bubble?
It's a dome. I find corners unnecessary.
At Liberty Mutual, that's how we feel about overpaying for insurance.
But I do miss having shelves.
What would you put on them?
Nothing, obviously.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty. Napa know-how.
At Napa, you can get a 5-quart jug of Mobil 1 full synthetic motor oil for $26.99. An incredible oil for an unbeatable price from the best car people around. Making this deal the best of the best of the best of the best of the best deals around. That's Mobil 1, only $26.99. Quality parts, helpful people. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
General States pricing. Sales prices not include applicable state, local taxes, or recycling fees. Offer ends 9/30/20.
AM 560, The Answer.
Yes. I'll tell you what, this whole thing is like Oxford Blues, isn't it? I love that movie. Jacob Rich, thank you so much for joining me. All right.
No problem.
So now the swindle known as Obamacare and the system that has entangled us, the real question is what President Trump did, is that substantial enough to create an exit?
Not for the entire system. So on prescription drugs, yes. This is by far the most important prescription drug policy I've seen in a very long time. And because of this, we need to make sure Congress goes forward and actually puts this into law. Because basically what this is going to do is completely free the private market from any sort of Medicare and Medicaid price schemes that influence, the pharmaceutical companies to overcharge Americans. But let me just kind of touch on how big what Trump did right here.
Go ahead.
I was back here, I was talking on your show a few weeks ago, and I was talking about how reimportation of drugs would save about $7 billion over 5 years. Well, this is way bigger. Medicare spends about $200 billion a year on prescription drugs. And the Trump administration estimates that this rulemaking that they just went forward, this executive order, would save 30% on that. So that's $60 billion for a single year in savings. And that's so huge that it equals 1.3% of the entire federal budget. Now, some people might say 1% of the federal budget, that's not much. But when you're spending $4.4 trillion a year, that's massive. For one executive order to touch that much of federal spending in general is absolutely incredible. And I tell you what, if Trump can figure out how to save this much money on prescription drugs, hopefully he'll have future executive orders to combat the other parts of Obamacare and Medicare and Medicaid that are keeping healthcare costs so high in the United States in general, because prescription spending, it's only 10% of the entire healthcare pie that we spend every single year. So there's a lot more that we need to do, but this is great so far.
Are they running ads on this? This to me is so important that it will get votes. Are they looking and explaining this, in your opinion? I mean, I know it just happened Sunday, but is there the right information out there? And if not, how do we get it out there? I mean, I think it's that important.
It is. I mean, I've been freaking out and telling everyone at my organization how huge this is. And all of my vice presidents and advisors and managers, they're all like, yeah, this is huge. We completely agree with you. And I read through a Brookings report, and what I predicted would happen, I saw this. I was like, oh, yeah, economic forces say this would happen. Brookings even conceded that all this would happen. And Brookings even said that the private market, that the pharmaceutical companies won't be able to increase prices in the private market because they're already profit maximizing in the private market. It's not like you make less money in one place and then you go try to make more money somewhere else. You always try to make as much money as possible. So really, this is what the Trump administration should be running on. I don't see any sort of issue that they should be running on more. It saves taxpayers money. It saves people with private insurance money. The only people that kind of miss out are actually the socialized systems in other countries, because pharma is going to put pressure on them to increase their prices in order to increase reimbursements in the United States. That sounds like a win-win-win to me. It's time for foreign countries to start paying for the innovation that Americans have been paying for this entire time.
And it also exposes the fact that we've been subsidizing their failed systems. I mean, that to me is the crucial part of it, and that's what I like about it. But when Trump, his executive order first on Obamacare was to eliminate that fine for people who don't capitulate, I thought the floodgates would happen and people would say, I'm out. Has that happened? Do you know if that's had any effect? Because to me, if you can combine these two and somehow come up with a private alternative, I was hoping there would be a bigger rejection to Obamacare than there has been.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure how influential the mandate really was, because, before Obamacare came into place, we already had about 90% of the entire country with some sort of insurance. And a lot of people who don't have insurance actually chose not to have it because it's cheaper for them to pay out of pocket. So in that regard, I'm not quite sure how the individual mandate would actually have an effect on people voting. But, I mean, paying less for pharmaceutical drugs, absolutely. I mean, that's huge. One thing that really struck me is that Trump actually proposed this rulemaking back in October 23rd, 2018, about almost 2 years ago now, right? Mm-hmm. And when he did it, he only said he was going to touch Medicare Part B. And then he basically told Big Pharma, he's like, hey, if you guys don't address the spending problem, I'm going to put this policy forward for Medicare Part B. And then Pharma did the opposite. They increased their prices. So last month, he actually said that he was going to include Part D with it as well, because Pharma didn't reduce their prices. I just love that he gave them an ultimatum. They didn't do it, and he's like, okay, yeah, I'm going to extend this to Medicare Part D, which is actually double the spending of Medicare Part B. So you have all pharmaceutical companies freaking out at the moment. It's very
Jacob,
fun.
I want to thank you for joining me. You can find Jacob at Reason.com, and I want you to keep us apprised of if you do start something that we can help. I really appreciate you coming on, Jacob. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me on, Sean. It's great talking.
AM 560's Steve Cortez is on special assignment working on President Trump's re-election campaign. He'll be back after the election in November, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Guys, prioritizing your health now is more important than ever, not only to build your immune system, but to address any chronic health issues you may have. I recommend Low T Center. They exclusively specialize in men's wellness and follow strict medical guidelines for your health and safety. They are one of the leading men's medical providers in the country. Low T Center has reinvented the doctor's visit, making it quick and easy to get all of your levels checked, not just your testosterone. It starts with an annual wellness exam where they do a comprehensive health assessment so you know all the numbers important to your health. If you've been feeling tired, grumpy, have noticed weight gain and loss of muscle mass, these could all be signs of low testosterone levels, low thyroid, or even sleep apnea. Low T Center can determine the cause and help. And now they offer monitored self-inject at-home testosterone treatments, providing convenience and additional health monitoring measures for your safety including a take-home blood pressure monitoring cuff. Self-inject at-home treatments are $135 a month for self-pay or covered by most health insurance. Book your annual wellness exam today by calling 630-451-9352 or go to lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Balance of Nature's fruits and vegetables in a capsule, changing the world one life at a time.
I've got a 7-year-old and I'm a 47-year-old, and he's just learning to skateboard, and I was a skateboarder since 1980. He had been begging me all week to prove to him that I could do a kickflip, because he really hasn't seen Daddy be an active guy. You know, I do all that at work, and when I come home, I'm exhausted. This weekend, I had to haul a whole bunch of pallets to the back of the house because I was using them for projects and stuff. And all of a sudden, I'm outside skateboarding with my son, and I'm doing kickflips and other tricks I haven't done in 20 years. And I'm like, this isn't me. This is who I used to be, but this isn't me. Maybe I need to change my language now. You know, this is me. What I have been for a while has not been the real me. So it's amazing what the body can do when it's fed the right thing, you know. It just can heal itself.
Balance of Nature is now offering 35% off on any new preferred order. Go to balanceofnature.com today and use discount code Chicago.
Customers, students, and staff expect a new level of clean. Cintas has the essential products and services to help you carry out cleaning protocols effectively. Cintas performs surface sanitizer and disinfectant spray services to common touchpoints, installs and refills touchless hand sanitizer dispensers, and provides commercial laundry services to help minimize employee exposure. Give everyone the confidence they need to keep coming back. Visit Cintas.com and get ready for the workday.
Hearing loss happens. In fact, it's one of the most common health issues in the world. If you suffer from hearing loss, South Suburban Hearing Health Center can help. For over 20 years, their specialists have helped area residents improve their hearing and quality of life by providing hearing services and solutions designed to help you hear better in noisy places, hear phone conversations more clearly. They even offer solutions that are virtually invisible when worn.
Hi, I'm Dr. Terry Corsar O'Boyle, audiologist at South Suburban Hearing Health Centers. Staying healthy is more important now than ever, and that includes your hearing health. Hearing better is living better. Schedule a visit at one of our 4 convenient locations in Burr Ridge, Homer Glen, Mokina, and Crestwood.
Schedule your hearing consultation today. Call 708-966-4724 and ask about their digital award-winning technology hearing aids to receive $500 off your new pair. That's 708-966-4724 or visit southsuburbanhearing.com. That's southsuburbanhearing.com.
It's news, opinion, insight. It's AM 560, The Answer. WIND, Chicago.
All right, this is a big pull for me. I've got Byron York. You know Byron York. He's got the good hair on Fox News. This is the guy. He thinks he's calling back into Sean Hannity's show. I can't wait to tell him it's me. He's not going to know what to do. You're going to want to stay tuned to that. That's going to be after Fox News and some information.
A huge rainmaker. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. That's the concern in the Gulf as Hurricane Sally, which is a Category 1, approaches. It's expected to make landfall late tonight or early tomorrow.
She's a very slow-moving storm that's going to drop a lot of rain, have significant storm surge on the Gulf Coast there, and she has 80-mile-per-hour sustained winds.
Louisiana Governor John Bel Edwards. In Alabama, Governor Kay Ivey is telling people in the Mobile area to leave their homes if they still can. The city of Louisville, Kentucky has agreed to pay the family of Breonna Taylor $12 million to settle a civil wrongful death lawsuit filed after the black woman was shot and killed when police served a no-knock warrant at her home.
As part of this settlement, Louisville Metro government agrees to make several important policy changes. First, to build stronger community connections between our police officers and the people they serve.
Mayor Greg Fisher, Taylor's mother, and others continue to call for criminal charges to be filed against the officers involved. A formal signing at the White House of a peace deal between Israel and 2 Arab nations.
President Trump touting the signing of a peace agreement between Israel and 2 Gulf nations, the UAE and Bahrain, saying it will change the geopolitical dynamic in the Middle East.
Together, these agreements will serve as the foundation for a comprehensive peace across the entire region, something which nobody thought was possible.
The so-called Abraham Accords, brokered by the U.S., leaves out the Palestinians who have not engaged with the White House and its peace efforts since the Trump administration recognized Jerusalem as Israel's capital. At the White House, John Decker, Fox News.
The backup Uber driver involved in a fatality with one of its self-driving cars has been criminally charged. Rafaela Vasquez facing charges of criminally negligent homicide with the 2018 crash in Tempe, Arizona. America's listening to Fox News.
This radio station accepts political advertising. In fact, we're required to do so by federal law. We understand that not all of our listeners will agree with statements or positions taken by all of these candidates, and sometimes neither do we. This radio station is an important part of this community, and therefore, the candidates want to bring their message to you via our airwaves. We do so as a public service, and we're required to do so. Regardless of your position on these issues, please make sure you register to vote so your voice is heard. The following is a paid political announcement.
Here's the president of the Illinois Chamber of Commerce, Todd Meisch, talking about the proposed income tax hike amendment on the November state ballot.
Springfield politicians already raised income taxes twice in the last decade. This tax hike amendment would let them increase taxes by billions more whenever they want, and a blank check to spend the money however they want, with no limits and no accountability. It would trigger a huge tax increase on thousands of small business owners and give Illinois the nation's second highest tax rate on large employers. The result would be more closed businesses, more lost jobs, and even more people leaving Illinois. The tax hike amendment is a bad idea at the worst possible time. Please stand with Illinois employers and vote no.
Learn more by visiting notaxhikeamendment.com. Paid for by the Coalition to Stop the Proposed Tax Hike Amendment.
Land ho! hey, seriously, land ho, guys. Guys, land ho! Land ho! Land ho! Right there!
The tides can turn quick on the water. Progressive's boat insurance has you covered with Sign & Glide on-water towing. Get a quote today in as little as 3 minutes at Progressive.com.
I gotta say, this land ho thing, not very effective.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Sign & Glide coverage is subject to policy terms.
The big networks have banned Blitz by David Horowitz. Still, Blitz is a runaway New York Times and Amazon bestseller. Mike Huckabee says if everyone read it, Trump would win in a landslide. Blitz reveals Trump's secret strategy and predicts big surprises soon. Mark Levin and Donald Trump Jr. urge you to get Blitz. Get Blitz at bookstores or see Newsmax's free offer and save $28. Just call 800-NEWSMAX, 800-NEWSMAX, or go to blitz411.com. Get Blitz today.
It's okay to do some things halfway, but not when it comes to managing your prescriptions. That's why CVS has a tool designed to look for ways that may help lower your prescription costs. Visit CVS today. Savings vary. Not all patients eligible for savings. Ask pharmacist for details.
How can you get from here to there? We've got the answer from the AM 560 Traffic Center.
In Lyons, southbound Harlem Avenue is shut down between 47th and the Stevenson Expressway. This is due to cleanup from an earlier rolled-over tanker accident and a fuel spill. However, the northbound lanes on Harlem Avenue have in fact been reopened. Now, the Kennedy after the split is 11, 8 in the Express, 28 to the airport. Inbound from the airport at 34, 19 of that off the junction. Ike outbound, a little snug from Damon to Des Plaines Avenue. Circle to 390 and 38. Inbound heavier at 41. If you're headed out on the Stevenson, bumper to bumper out to Pulaski. Lakeshore Drive out to 355 and 53. Inbound at Cass Avenue, a crash in the left lane. 355 back into the drive 36. That's traffic. I'm Mary DeBadges. On AM 560, The Answer.
Now, your official weather forecast.
Overnight, we'll see clear skies. The overnight low 60. Wednesday, mostly sunny, very warm. Wednesday's high 83. Wednesday night, partly cloudy, low 59. Thursday, partly sunny, breezy in the morning, then nice in the afternoon, high 66. I'm Drew Shannon on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
This hourly segment is brought to you by AM Woodland Outdoor Design, luxury outdoor living. amwoodland.com.
While Steve Cortez is on special assignment with the Trump campaign, filling in for Steve is Sean Thompson.
I am very excited. We have Byron York. Next to Brett Baer on Fox News, Byron York has the best hair. There's no question about it. He's a contributor at the Washington Examiner, Fox News. He's covered for decades Washington and the presidency. Bush, Obama, Trump now. He's also the author of The Vast Left-Wing Conspiracy. But his new book, Obsession, is what we're here to talk about. How are you, Byron?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Were you sad when you found out it's not Sean Hannity again? Tell the truth.
I can live with it.
All right, very good, very good. So you really have been, for decades, crucially important in telling us all of the good things, the bad things, and everything in the middle. Have you ever seen anything like this?
No, that's why I wrote a book about it. You know, if you want to know what the book is about, go back to December 2019, less than a year ago. Democrats in the House were racing. They were hurrying to impeach President Trump by Christmas. And a reporter asked Nancy Pelosi, well, what's the rush here? Why are you hurrying so much? And Pelosi said, there's no rush. This has been going on for 2.5 years since Mueller. And a lot of Republicans really perked up. They noticed this. They took note. And they said, wow, she has finally said it. This impeachment isn't about Ukraine. It's not about Ukraine. It's not about a phone call. It is part of a continuing effort. It is a continuation of a long effort to remove President Trump from office. And that's what the book is about, from the origins of the Mueller investigation and whole problems with James Comey, all the way through the acquittal and the impeachment.
Isn't there a silver lining? I mean, I understand that most people aren't astute and they don't pay attention to every instance. But the accusations against Trump in regards to Russia, in regards to the Ukraine, those were the actual actions that politicians had been taking for decades prior to Trump ever deciding to be a politician. Would that be fair to say?
Well, look, I don't think there's a silver lining for the president being impeached. But what I think it showed was it showed the Democrats' intention to impeach the president regardless. You know, one of the early scenes in the book is on Capitol Hill. Democrats have lost the election. Obviously, they're unhappy. They're having a hard time accepting it. But Republicans don't know how unhappy they really are. Till January 6th, 2017. Trump has not been sworn in yet, but it's the day that Congress meets to certify the results of the Electoral College. It is supposed to be a ceremony. I mean, each state gets up and says their delegates or their electors in order, and they'll go to Donald Trump or to Hillary Clinton. So it's just a ceremony. It's a done deal, obviously. But Democrats were not ready to accept it. And on several occasions, they stood up and objected to this or that state's electors being counted because Russia had interfered in the election and had helped elect Donald Trump. And Republicans were just looking at each other saying, wow, they're really having a hard time accepting this. And a few months later, you know, Mueller is appointed on May the 17th, 2017. What's not noticed as much is on that very same day came the first formal call for the president's impeachment on the House floor. So what it really shows is that this was a long effort. They intended to impeach him about Russia. They put all of their marbles on Robert Mueller. They hoped that he would deliver a searing indictment of the president and they could impeach him based on that. That blew up in their face, but then they immediately found another vehicle to use to try to impeach the president, Ukraine. So the issue was not whatever issue they said it was their long-term desire to remove the president from office.
And didn't it also expose to a certain extent, I know I feel a lot less for the FBI than I did prior to this. I never really cared for the concept of a FISA court, but I think most people didn't even know what it was. Doesn't this kind of wrongful persecution shed a light on the fact that these are actually people who have sometimes a political agenda, even though they're in very powerful positions? It's
made the FBI look terrible. You're absolutely right. Another scene early in the book is during the transition. Trump has been elected, hasn't taken office yet. A number of people close to him are urging him to fire James Comey, head of the FBI. Rudy Giuliani is urging it. He said, look, Comey is going to turn on you. There's something wrong with this guy. Chris Christie has said, look, Comey is a loose cannon, and if you keep him after you're president, he's going to be your loose cannon. Jeff Sessions also advised firing Comey. Now, they knew that Comey had really mishandled the Hillary Clinton case, the email case, during the election year. It's not that they were sympathetic to her. It's not they were offended on her behalf, but they thought the guy is erratic. He is self-righteous. He is a loose cannon, and it would be a bad idea to keep him into a Trump administration. Now, the president didn't follow that advice. That's one of the mysteries of all this. But the reason he didn't do it was that he's a businessman, and he has always in his life believed that if he can just talk to people, he can bring them around. He can win them over through the force of his personality. And he believed he could win Comey over, when in fact that was impossible. It was a big failure. And what Comey put in motion, I think, brought a lot of disrepute on the FBI in this whole affair.
I agree with you, by the way. I think it is his personality. I think he thought that people would be on his team to a certain extent because they wanted to see the country move forward, and he felt if he presented his case, he could win over not just Comey. I think he also felt that way about many top Democrats who he knew prior to running.
Correct.
And you know, I think he's probably astonished at the polarization of his presidency and what it has, in essence, done to the country. And I'm wondering, the upper echelon that you've witnessed, the Washington machine, have they picked sides? Is it as polarized in Washington where you spend all of your time, or are they just trying to wait for the post-Trump era?
Oh, it's as polarized as it looks. It's as polarized as it looks. I mean, you know, it's interesting. The subtitle I picked for the book, Inside the Washington Establishment's Never-Ending War on Trump. Well, first of all, never-ending means never-ending. And if the president is reelected, it will continue. But the Washington establishment, I didn't say inside the Democrats' war on Trump. The Washington establishment, of course, in this case, includes the Democrats, the opposition party. It includes a small but very vocal group of former Republicans known as Never-Trumpers. It includes people in the political world, sort of academics and former office holders. And it includes the press, a very big part of it. And look, most of those groups have been just strongly, some would say irrationally, aligned against Trump in all of this.
Now, I'm reading your bio. I didn't realize you went to the University of Chicago, huh?
I did. I got a master's degree at the University of Chicago.
So you're aware of the politics in the Democrat mafia hub of Illinois. You've watched it. You've lived it. You've seen it.
Yes.
In Washington, D.C., with what goes on there, is probably some of this resistance to Trump a fear that he also knew the kind of corruption it took in government, being that he had to work with so many government officials throughout his career, that he may disrupt that apple cart?
Well, there certainly was. Some people, obviously the opposition party, Democrats, they were going to oppose him. They're Democrats. He was a Republican. That's just as clear as that. But there were, I think, a number of people who felt that if Trump actually managed to enact his agenda, it would be bad for them. Maybe they had really good jobs. They had a lot of influence. They had clout. And that they would lose that if Trump were to succeed in enacting his agenda. Better to try to remove him from office early. And so that's what they did. I mean, I think people had a lot of different motivations for opposing Trump. But the story of the book actually is them losing their heads in this just continued effort to remove him from office when they could have, by the way, waited for the election, and that's the time that the voters render a verdict on a president who's seeking re-election. That's when it's done. Impeachment was never going to work.
You've got a liner here in your book that I want to ask you about, how Robert Mueller's shocking, frail condition affected the impeachment process. I always said he looked like one of the trees in The Wizard of Oz that threw the apples at Dorothy. Is he that frail?
Well, he made an appearance before Congress that was very much in the news, on July 24th, 2019, because remember his report, he had failed to establish that collusion even took place, much less who might have taken part in it. That's a big disappointment to Democrats. They didn't give up their dream of impeaching Trump on the basis of the Mueller report, but they felt like they needed a big Watergate moment. They need a hearing that the whole world will be watching, and Robert Mueller can stand up and deliver an indictment against President Trump. And it was a disaster. Mueller seemed confused at times. He seemed unable to answer very basic questions. He seemed unable to put together complex sentences. There was clearly, this was not the old Robert Mueller. The old Robert Mueller that they remembered from a decade or more earlier was a very, very sharp micromanager of the FBI. This was not that man. It was not a surprise to the Trump team. They had their suspicions about something was going on in Mueller's office. A year earlier, in April of 2018, Rudy Giuliani has just joined the Trump defense team. They have a get acquainted meeting. It is with Mueller, and there was a doctrine, a Justice Department opinion, the opinion that a sitting president cannot be indicted. That's not an arcane argument. That's something that was a huge part of the whole Mueller investigation. It comes up in the conversation, and Mueller does not remember it. He does not know what that Justice Department position is. Now, obviously, the old Robert Mueller would have known all about it, but clearly there was something going on, and the Trump team afterwards says, "Wow, what's going on?" Mueller's aides covered for him. They said, "Oh yeah, we know about that. We'll be back to you on that." But it was the last time any of them ever saw Mueller. It was the last time that any of them ever got him on the phone. His staff just put a wall around Mueller, and we saw why when he finally testified. Now, the importance of this. Obviously, it's just on a human basis, it's important because they were concerned that here was a man who was struggling with things. But the concern, the policy concern was, remember when Mueller was hired, he in turn hired a lot of very partisan Democrats as his prosecutors, people who had contributed a lot of money to Democrats. One, Andrew Weissmann, his so-called pit bull, who had actually gone to Hillary Clinton's election night event in New York, hoping for a big celebration. At the time, Trump was very critical of this. Lots of Republicans were critical. They say, wow, this special counsel is investigating Trump, and he's hired all these partisan Democrats. But remember, Mueller's defenders said, look, Bob Mueller is straight down the middle. He will keep these people in line. He will ride herd on these prosecutors. So don't you worry about any bias. Well, then they see that Mueller is having difficulties, is unlikely to be in charge of his investigation, and they wonder who really is in charge. And they never found out.
Byron, would you stick with me through the break? I am going to. I don't have that Hannity money, so I have to pay the bills here, and then I'm going to order your book on Amazon during the break. I promise. And if you stick around, do we have a deal?
If you will order it during the break, yes.
I'm ordering it during the break. We'll be back with Byron York after the break and my book purchase.
In the final 100 days before the election, President Trump knew it was time to call in the closer to seal a victory. And the man he called was AM 560's Steve Cortes.
There is nobody that loves this country more than Steve Cortes. Steve
will return to the air after the election, right here on AM 560. The Answer.
Yes, I'm multitasking. I'm opening up my Amazon app, and I'm going to read you a David Hochberg commercial. If you're purchasing a new home or refinancing your existing home, then you need to call Team Hochberg. He's your trusted local mortgage professional. Today, I'd like you to meet Billy, a truck driver who called Team Hochberg last August to secure a cash-out refi payoff debt of $65,000. He had a credit score of 650. Hochberg explained to Billy his rate would be higher than the current rates because he had so much debt with a credit score of 650. Do you know what? Hochberg refinanced him, and he saved him $700 a month in payments. If you would like to use your home's equity to eliminate your debt, reduce your rate, or shorten your loan term, call Team Hochberg now. 312-855-56David or visit 56david.com. Team Hochberg helped Billy. He's helped thousands of AM listeners, but he cannot help you if you don't call him. So give him a call, 855-56David, or visit 56david.com. Homeside Financial, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 1124061.
If you're in HR, you're probably wearing a lot of hats. Recruiter, team builder, trainer, mediator, policymaker, and of course, paper pusher. But not anymore. Bamboo HR is the #1 HR software for small and medium businesses. It manages all your employee data easily and automates countless tasks, so you can focus on people, not paperwork. Bamboo HR frees you from spreadsheets, so you can do your real job, creating a great place to work. If the data shuffle and paperwork mountain have you ready to hang up all your hats, you're ready for Bamboo. If you handle HR records and paperwork, Bamboo HR is a dream. Let us free up your time and put your days of pushing paperwork behind you so you can focus on the people and making your company a great place to work for everyone. Try PC Magazine's top pick for HR software free today. Just go to bamboohr.com/HR. This is a limited offer, only available to radio listeners at bamboohr.com/HR. That's bamboohr.com/HR.
Need new windows, but reluctant to subject yourself to aggressive salesmen, phony offers, or a shoddy installation? There's a better way to shop for replacement windows. Woodland Windows and Doors. New windows can turn an old room into a favorite, add character, or lower energy costs. But we know it can be daunting. That's why Woodland is with you every step of the way, helping you decide what works best for your home. Stop by our showroom to see brands like Marvin, fresh colors like Marvin Contemporary Black, and take home a copy of Marvin's Replacement Guide that walks you through key replacement decisions. After 50 years, Woodland has seen a lot of shop-fatigued homeowners walk into their showroom and walk out energized because they never pressure, push, or make false promises. Woodland delivers a great product at a fair price, and they're not satisfied until you are. Stop by the showroom at the corner of Lake and Gary in Roselle to pick up a copy of Marvin's Replacement Guide. They'd love to see you. Or go to woodlandwindows.com and request a free consultation.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right. Byron, $17.13 on Amazon. I just got it on sale. I'm sure they took that out of your end. You know they don't discount it out of their end.
Listen, thank you very much for doing that. And I do want to remind people, Amazon at this very moment is sold out. The publisher is rushing a second printing, so it will be delivered within days. But they're right now it's sold out. But you order one now, it'll be there within 4 or 5 days.
I ordered it right now on my phone. They sent it right to my phone. Now, here's the other thing. I sell real estate in Naples, Florida, so when you really cash out and you want to buy yourself an estate, you call me at Liberty Real Estate. Little reciprocal, Byron. Thank you.
There we go.
The Stork page scandal, I have to tell you, I'm blown away. Blown away. The tweets, the texting back and forth, the plan B, then the phones get turned over. I don't know if this is covered in the book or not. I mean, is it just shocking what happened?
Well, the news story about the wiping of the phones happened far too late. Happened actually after the book's actually out. But it's pretty fishy, I have to tell you that. By the way, it's very hard to actually wipe a phone clean by entering the wrong passcode. Okay, this is a protection if someone steals your phone and they're trying to get in it, trying different passcodes. But most people's phones, they have their pictures on it, they have contacts, they have a lot of very valuable stuff. And none of the phone manufacturers want to make it easy for you to just inadvertently destroy everything. So it's just not the way it works. On an iPhone, which is what Andrew Weissman had, if you enter the wrong passcode 4 times in a row, it stops. It makes you stop and wait a minute. And if you enter it again, it makes you stop and wait a bunch of minutes. And if you enter it wrong again, you have to wait even longer. And it takes you close to 3 hours to wipe the phone by entering an incorrect passcode enough times. Now, Andrew Weissman managed to inadvertently do this twice to 2 different phones. So it's really
You're insulting
how in the world could that happen?
You're insulting our intelligence. This is
There
why
you go.
I can't take much more of it, Byron. I got to admit, I'm an old street kid. You know the neighborhood. I grew up in Melrose Park, live in Elmwood Park. I can't stand when these smarmy son of a guns lie to me with a straight face and then expect me to buy this nonsense. So I'm hoping that somewhere down the road there's a repercussion, because what it looks like from here is they keep doing it, they keep getting away with it, and we keep paying for it.
I should say one more thing. You mentioned Peter Strzok and Lisa Page. And, of course, the most notorious exchange they had that we know of on text, Lisa Page in August of 2016, during the campaign, says, Trump is never going to become president, is he? And Strzok responds, no, he won't. We'll stop it. And Strzok has just written a book. He's out there selling a book. So he's asked about this, and he says, I have no memory of ever writing "We'll stop it." Because people would say, well, what did you mean when you said, no, we'll stop it? And he claimed, and I looked at the book, and he says, to this day, I have zero memory of writing those words.
It's just preposterous. Now, here's the thing with what really came out of all of this were some indictments of some shady characters anyway that Trump surrounded himself with. I've never been a Roger Stone guy. Paul Manafort looks a little bit too much like Wayne Newton, creeps me out. Michael Cohen, I couldn't stomach him. Are these kind of the people that were giving Trump advice that it's no big deal? Do you think that they were giving him bad advice knowing that they were the Achilles heel?
Well, all of those people were charged in connection with the Mueller, and none of them were accused of taking part in a conspiracy or coordination with Russia to influence the 2016 election. So, the thing to remember about Mueller is why he was appointed. He was appointed after this uproar among Democrats and in the press about collusion, that Trump and the Russians had colluded, had conspired to fix the 2016 election. And one of the things I talk about in the book is when the indictments start to come, or the plea agreements as well, when Michael Flynn is indicted, when George Papadopoulos is indicted, when Paul Manafort is indicted, when Rick Gates is indicted, when others are indicted, ending up with Roger Stone at the end. None of the indictments, and Mueller would write these pretty involved indictments telling the story of what happened. None of the indictments alleged that there was a conspiracy, that collusion took place. None of them. Mm-hmm. And that's not the way prosecutors work. If you want to say that somebody was a drug kingpin, you should probably get somebody lower down in the organization to tell you that there was a drug ring and that they played this part and the big guy played that part. In other words, to establish that there really was a drug ring, a criminal activity. Mueller never established that there was this conspiracy, this collusion. As a matter of fact, he says on multiple occasions in the report they could not establish that this took place. And that was the underlying weakness of the entire report.
Well, Byron, hopefully we'll hear next that they're charging the entire Democrat Party with the RICO Act. As far as I'm concerned, I think they could get every last one of them. I want to thank you so much for joining me. You really did make my day, and I did buy your book, so I wouldn't mind if you buy a mansion for me in Florida. I've got tuition to pay. Thank you so much.
All right, thanks so much for your help.
Byron York, we'll be back. Thank you. We'll be back with your calls, 312-642-5600, on the Byron York book, Obsession. It's going to be something.
From AM 560 to the campaign trail, Steve Cortez is on special assignment with the Trump campaign. But don't worry, he'll be back after the election right here on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, it's Steve Cortez. You all know how much I love MyPillow and how much it's changed how I sleep. So when Mike Lindell came out with a new mattress topper, I couldn't wait to try it. I have to say, I don't know if I love MyPillow or MyPillow mattress topper more. It's that good. Get ready for the best sleep of your life. Mike's exclusive 3-layer design includes Layer 1, MyPillow foam support. Layer 2, transitional foam to help relieve pressure points. Layer 3, ultra soft patented temperature regulating cover. Comes with a 10-year warranty that's washable and dryable. It's made in the USA and backed by MyPillow's 60-day money-back guarantee. Get the total body support you need and better sleep you want. Right now, save 30% on MyPillow mattress toppers when you use the promo code STEVE or call 800-489-0201. When you do, you'll get 2 standard MyPillows for free. Again, the promo code is STEVE. Call 800-489-0201. Promo code STEVE.
I'm Doug McAllister, the proud owner of Douglas Automotive. Crazy times we are living through. With all the uncertainty of the next thing to be canceled or closed, one thing I do know is that Douglas Automotive is open for business and ready to serve you with honesty and integrity, today, tomorrow, and every weekday. Book an appointment online today at douglasautomotive.com. That's douglasautomotive.com.
Douglas Automotive has been the shop your neighbors trust for 27 years and counting. They guarantee 100% customer satisfaction by discussing all work up front and backing all parts and service with their 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty. Douglas Automotive proudly serves the northwest suburbs with locations in Crystal Lake, Barrington, and Fox River Grove. Let the honest ASE-certified technicians at Douglas Automotive serve you. Go to douglasautomotive.com today.
Service with integrity, Douglas Automotive.
With more people working from home lately, your staff needs immediate access to documents. What do? Call IDT. With Infuse IoT Smart Connected Scanning Services from IDT and Kodak Alaris, document capture is easy and safe. IDT delivers an Infuse Smart Connected Scanner to wherever your staff can perform scanning, home or office. Using patented easy setup QR code technology and without any IT involvement, you can securely scan your vital documents. No PCs or clunky MFPs. You simply get the best-in-class image quality using Perfect Page technology. Within minutes, your documents will be securely delivered to the cloud and be accessible to your staff using the convenience of a web browser or mobile app 24 hours a day. The process has never been easier or more cost-effective.
Set up a consultation today. Visit ready4idt.com. That's ready, the number 4, IDT.com. Or call 877-SCAN-IDT. IDT, putting paper in its place.
It's news, opinion, and insight at the speed of your life. Streaming at 560theanswer.com on the AM 560 mobile app and radio.com.
Possible fatal flooding. Good evening. It's 77 degrees in Chicago at 6:30. On AM 560 The Answer, I'm Tom Beck. Hurricane Sally is just hours away from slamming into the Gulf Coast. It's expected to hit from Mississippi to western Florida first, then move across southeastern Alabama tomorrow night. Forecasters say it could dump 30 inches of rain, resulting in fatal flooding. The attorney for former National Security Advisor to President Trump, John Bolton, told Fox News Bolton will cooperate with an investigation into his book. The Justice Department wants to know if Bolton used classified information. Chicago will expand its contact tracing efforts to help prevent spread of coronavirus. Mayor Lightfoot said the city will work with 31 community groups to hire 500 people for an expanded program. 500,000 counterfeit N95 masks used for coronavirus protection were seized after they arrived in Chicago from China. Homeland Security is investigating. On AM 560 The Answer, I'm Tom Beck.
Mike Gallagher says now is not the time to rest.
As incredibly well as the Republican National Convention went, now the heavy lifting begins. Now the fight is underway. Now we got to scale the mountains. I got no easy answers, but I am going to give you a reality check. Do not get complacent. Now's where the hard work begins.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
You've heard Rumpke's Garage commercials on AM 560, and now they specialize in servicing Sprinters and light-duty diesels. But the experts at Rumpke's also service Isuzu and Chevy low-cab forward trucks. So if you own an Isuzu or Chevy low-cab forward truck but aren't sure where to get it repaired, take it to Rumpke's Garage, your #1 dealer alternative for repairs to your Isuzu NPR, Isuzu F-Series, or Chevy low-cab forward truck. Whether gas or diesel, your truck is the lifeline of your business. That's why Rumpke's Garage offers free loaners while your truck is being serviced. They'll even pick up and deliver for your convenience. Rumpke's Garage has the factory scan tool to properly diagnose Isuzu and Chevy low-cab forward trucks. Their commitment to your business is backed with a complimentary maintenance plan and free 2-year warranty. Go to Remke'sGarage.com to learn more about their specialization in Isuzu and Chevy low-cab forward trucks and schedule your appointment today. That's Remke's, R-E-M-K-E-S, garage.com.
Hearing loss happens. In fact, it's one of the most common health issues in the world. If you suffer from hearing loss, South Suburban Hearing Health Center can help. For over 20 years, their specialists have helped area residents improve their hearing and quality of life by providing hearing services and solutions designed to help you hear better in noisy places, hear phone conversations more clearly. They even offer solutions that are virtually invisible when worn.
Hi, I'm Dr. Terry Corsar O'Boyle, audiologist at South Suburban Hearing Health Centers. Staying healthy is more important now than ever, and that includes your hearing health. Hearing better is living better. Schedule a visit at one of our 4 convenient locations in Burr Ridge, Homer Glen, Mokina, and Crestwood.
Schedule your hearing consultation today. Call 708-966-4724 and ask about their digital award-winning technology hearing aids to receive $500 off your new pair. That's 708-966-4724 or visit southsuburbanhearing.com. That's southsuburbanhearing.com.
It's okay to do some things halfway, but not when it comes to managing your prescriptions. That's why CVS has a tool designed to look for ways that may help lower your prescription costs. Visit CVS today. Savings vary. Not all patients eligible for savings. Ask pharmacist for details.
Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer from the AM 560 Traffic Center.
On Chicago's West Side, North Lawndale neighborhood, there's a shooting investigation on Homan Avenue near 18th Street. Reportedly, a 5-year-old boy has been shot. In Lyons, southbound Harlem Avenue is closed. That's between 47th Street and the Stevenson Expressway. Now, this is all due to cleanup from a much earlier rolled-over tanker crash. Kennedy outbound 11 to the Esplanade in the Express, 28 to the airport. Inbound from O'Hare at 27. Ike outbound Little Touch and Go, Independence to Des Plaines Avenue. Circle to 390-33, inbound at 36. Stevenson, if you're headed outbound at Ashland, to crash off onto the shoulder. From the drive on out to 355 and 48. Inbound bumper to bumper Lamont to Cass Avenue with the crash in the left lane. That's traffic. I'm Mary DeBanchis. On AM 560, The Answer.
Now, your official weather forecast.
Clear skies overnight. We'll have a low of 60. Mostly sunny, very warm Wednesday with a high of 83. Partial sunshine Thursday. It will be breezy in the morning, then nice in the afternoon. Thursday, we'll see a high of 66. I'm Drew Shannon on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
This hourly segment is brought to you by The Insurance Guy. Tune in Saturday afternoons 4 to 5 for The Insurance Guy with Steve Lischewitz, president of SVL Insurance Group.
AM 560, The Answer.
You know, there's a double standard that I think we've all lived with for years, to where we know it intuitively. We accept it. And it's got to stop. It's got to stop. For instance, I like when reporters are inquisitive, are suspect, interrogate rather than propagandize. I think that's how media is supposed to be in this country. I think that was the point of it. I think that's what they mean with freedom of speech. I don't mind so much when reporters ask difficult questions, but when you do a interview with a writer like Byron York, you get bullet points that are in his book. Now, I enjoyed my conversation with Byron so much that I didn't get to a main one, so I'm going to ask you. I'm going to ask you, even though you didn't write the book, even though the vast majority haven't read the book, because sometimes we get to a position where we forget that these are actual people, right? I've never forgotten that. I don't give respect to jobs. I recognize that men occupy them. But there is one thing I will say, even when I don't agree with Trump, which is really, especially when it's economically, it's a lot. I agree with him on some things, but economically I don't. But there is a question here that Byron's book addresses. And when you just take your opinion out of things for a minute and you think about the fact that this is a man, this is a guy who, whether you love him or you hate him or you're indifferent, this is still a guy, a father, a husband. He's a 70-something-year-old man, 73-year-old man. And it's an interesting question, how Trump has managed to weather every accusation Democrats and the establishment have leveled against him. I'm going to say something here. I've always paid attention to politics. By the way, give us a call if you care to participate. It's 312-642-5600. I've watched politicians my whole life. From Nixon, as I always say, he was in front of the Contemporary at Disney. I'm not a crook. Gerald Ford falls down the stairs. Jimmy Carter, probably a nice guy, but a complete and absolute incorrect answer to every problem guy we've ever had. Ronald Reagan, there's something about him, you just loved him. I'm sorry. I just liked his demeanor. I hated the Bush family. I'm going to be quite frank with you. I thought that old man Bush was always smarmy. I remember when he used to interrogate him. He's the reason they call it trickle-down economics. He heckled Reagan on his economic policy, which is really an economic policy espoused of free capitalism. And I think created an economic tsunami that lasted up until 2008 after his following presidents just bastardized his economic scheme. So I didn't care for old man Bush. Thought he was a scoundrel. Bill Clinton, probably fun. If you had to categorize him at a party, you probably want to be around Bill Clinton. He's going to pick up somebody at that soiree. But a moron, riddled in scandal. The whole thing about Arkansas being the just happens to be the drug drop-off capital of America. Call me silly. I find it a little suspect. And, I think anybody could look at Hillary and figure out he got a pass for fooling around on her. That's the one we all understood. Al Gore, he wasn't president, but he got real close. Scumbag. George W. Bush, probably affable. Probably would have been the one that I would have probably enjoyed a conversation with, probably because you're just laughing half the time. Barack Obama, probably one-on-one, probably have a good conversation with him, right? I have never seen anything like this, where it's every minute of every day to a guy who on strict policy, and the reason I disagree with him is more aligned with those Democrats I named in that lineup than anybody else. If you're an actual Democrat, an actual Union Democrat who wants these certain policies that I disagree with and that many people do agree with, if you are unaware, that's national populism. The old Democrats were the original national populists. So I'm always confused when those Democrats who loved Clinton hate Trump, because they're basically the same guy. They basically are. And that's why before this whole thing with Hillary, very good friends. Very, very good friends. I thought that if anybody had a chance to kind of make people acceptable of both parties, it would be this guy. I did. It was when he started to run and I saw the vitriol and I saw the inundated. I said, well, this will probably calm down after the election. Win, lose, or draw. Then he won, much to the chagrin of many socialists. And then I thought, well, once they get to know the policies, they'll be accepting of the policies because, after all, they're very similar to the policies we've had, only they promise better management, which was my original gripe against Trump. I didn't like the idea that we would have managed policies by, a small few. But none of these arguments against Trump are really about policies. None of them. They're strictly about him. Strictly attacks. And as you watch Joe Biden meander through this campaign, of which he is so ill-equipped to do, you realize none of his policies, very few of the people who even agree with Biden know his policies, let alone can articulate them. We are literally having a runoff of, do you hate Trump enough to put in this old man who shouldn't be in the office? That's what we're living through. This is a presidential election. where the president has the most power of really any president before him. This is a big deal. And how does this guy get up in the morning and say, I'm going to do it again? You have to be in awe, especially when you don't need it. It's something to think of. 312-642-5600.
AM 560's Steve Cortez is on special assignment working on President Trump's re-election campaign. He'll be back after the election in November, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Nobody. All right, we got Tom Mirabali. Boy, this guy's getting his money out of me, this Tom Mirabali. It's the time of the year. It's open enrollment. You've got the big decision. It's an easy one. It's open enrollment for your pretend safety health insurance, which probably doesn't exist. Tom Mirabali is your health insurance guy. He's an advocate and an independent producer for Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois and other major medical carriers. If you're 50 and you're covered by the Affordable Care Act, guess what? You're paying for maternity care. Tom has found a way to remove that. In Illinois, the least expensive ACA PPO health insurance plan is $570 a month because it has that in it, with a total deductible of $81.50 before your bills are paid at 100%. Tom can eliminate the mandatory maternity, lowering your premium down to $480 a month. But here's the thing. He saves you down from $81.50 a month to $2,500 before your bills are 100% paid. It's a savings of $5,600 in total out-of-pocket costs per person with his lower deductible. For free quote and to see if you qualify, call Tom on his personal cell, 630-863-3477, or visit healthplanchicago.com.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company customizes your home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
As a minimalist, paying less for insurance is more.
Nice place. Is your house a bubble?
It's a dome. I find corners unnecessary.
At Liberty Mutual, that's how we feel about overpaying for insurance.
But I do miss having shelves.
What would you put on them?
Nothing, obviously.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty. Napa know-how.
At Napa, you can get a 5-quart jug of Mobil 1 full synthetic motor oil for $26.99. An incredible oil for an unbeatable price from the best car people around. Making this deal the best of the best of the best of the best of the best deals around. That's Mobil 1, only $26.99. Quality parts, helpful people. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
General States pricing. Sales prices not include applicable state, local taxes, or recycling fees. Offer ends 9/30/20.
So what's the trouble here, mister? I don't understand what happened. I checked my stuff in Chicago, and when we landed in L.A., I came to baggage claim, and there it was, my $10,000 Canoma analyzer in pieces, completely trashed. Just the facts, buddy. What did you have it backed in? Well, just the box it came in, but there was all this foam and thick cardboard. It looked sturdy enough. That's what they all think, pal, till it's too late. What am I gonna do now? My boss is gonna kill me. Here's some good advice for you. The next time you transport anything valuable, put it in a Star Case, leading manufacturer of custom reusable shipping cases. So where do I get a Star Case? Now you're getting smart, bub. You can find everything you need to know to order one direct at starcase.com or call 800-822-STAR, where a friendly, knowledgeable sales engineer will be glad to help you design the custom case you need. That's starcase.com or 800-822-7827.
AM 560, The Answer.
Hey, you remember the other day, Josh, when I was talking about the LBGTQ and then they had an I? Remember I said we got to find out what that I is? You know, I found out what it is. Yeah, this is great. You're probably used to hearing the term LBGTQ, but did you hear LBGTI? Nearly 1 in every 2,000 people are born with variations in reproductive or sexual anatomy, or has a chromosome pattern that doesn't fit with the typically considered male or female. I got to say something. I think they're making it up. These individuals are called intersex. So now they got an I. You know, you look like a guy that took maybe one of these intersex people to prom. I could just be. I'm just speculating. I'm just saying. All right, Lewis. Hope you're not an intersexer. What's up, Lewis?
Good afternoon, Sean.
Yes.
Hold my beer.
All right. So I don't got to buy it. I'll hold it. Go ahead.
Okay, hold my beer. Okay, about this election. This election ain't about the best qualified. This is about just like your just like your previous guest had said, this is about making Donald Trump the most hated individual in the world. This is about Donald Trump trying to, he has a weakness, and just like the gentleman had said, where he try to win over people, even those people that he know can hurt him.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think he's a victim of his own confidence when it comes to that point. And the reality is, it's like I said in the opening when I first opened, these are irreconcilable differences we have with half our country. That's the real case. There are 50% of this country, Louis, that they simply want for nothing. They don't want to do what we have to do. They want to demonize and bastardize the idea of people's right to their own freedom and their own property. So that's why you've got children demanding more free health care, more free tuition. When you listen to the demands of these so-called movements, they're political. They're not about rights. They're not about law. They're about really moving Marxism into America, where, by the way, we've let it move in. I mean, it's here, and you see it.
Yeah, but you have to look at it, too, in this way, too. This is what's going on. This election is about capitalism versus aristocratic, where you have people in power who think that they are above the law, just
that's
like
corporatism.
Nancy Pelosi.
That's corporatism you're speaking of, because what it does is it creates political oligarchs. And that's what lives in Chicago. That's why you've got the same families, the same people in control of the Leaverser Party, or the people that they've accepted into their cabal. So that's what we want to prevent from happening through the nation. I'm just curious, Louis, I wonder, do you think we're going to win or lose in November? What do you think?
I think we're going to win.
All right, I love it. All right,
I think people don't enjoy their little taste of socialism.
Here's your beer back. I hope you're right. Here's your beer back. Thanks for the call, Louis. I love when Louis calls. Because the reality is, I hope he's right. I think 50% of the people like it. They want more. Listen to these messages. Listen to these complaints. These aren't complaints about actual specificity. These are complaints about some people that are capable and able, and other people that want to drag them down. That's all it is. That's all socialism is. It's about force and extortion. That's all it is. They're not asking for the opportunity to go forward and to earn and to live. They're asking that anybody that does it better than they do be stripped of it. And it's funny because I always love the fact of the Mercedes Marxist like Pritzker, who's got all the money in the world. Yet when you look at his policies, when you realize that the Sean Castins out there, they cheat on the taxes they want to throw on the rest of us. I hope the Democrat people understand, people that make up that party understand, recognize, and reject it. This is more than a regular election. I'll talk to you tomorrow.